So when it comes to the takeaway, here's some preferences that I like to work on with players, is to really encourage a little bit more focus to be on our lead shoulder and the motion of our torso in that first move away. So very often problems will begin to arise early on in the swing when the hands and the lead arm and the club kind of outrace the rotation of our torso. But when we can match our lead arm and hands up with that torso motion, that's when the club begins to work back into a really nice positions that a lot of players are kind of looking for, where the hands begin to slightly arc in and the club head stays outside the hands. So a really nice drill to help feel that would just be to do some takeaways with your lead hand on the club only, and then place your trail hand just on your lead shoulder, or you can place it just on your core. So as you're making the takeaway motion now, when we only have our lead hand on the club, there's a much bigger awareness now if our tendency is to just take the club away with only our lead arm. So what we want to try and feel is this lead shoulder is really driving that motion back until we get to sort of P2 there, where the club is parallel to the ground. There's not a whole lot going on with the hands or the lead arm. The motion is just being driven by that lead side turning and rotating. And then if you just put your trail hand on, then that will give you a good sense of where we want to be at takeaway. So when you do this drill from down the line here, what you're going to see is as the torso drives the motion in that first half, the hand path will kind of track in slightly, the club head will stay slightly outside the hands, and the club face will be quite neutral. It won't be overly open or overly closed. Another nice drill, if your tendency is to get the hands and the arms to outrace the rotation of your torso and the takeaway, to get the club and just get the club head and just stick it to the center of your chest there. Get into your normal golf posture and then place your lead hand down where it would be at setup. The key here now is to make that first move away, but we don't want to have the lead arm outracing the shaft here. We need to get the shaft and the lead arm working back a little bit more in sync. So you'll feel a lot more activation here through your lead shoulder and through your core here as you make that takeaway. When we can get that lead arm and that torso a little bit more in sync, that's when the hand pat will start to work back nicely, and then the club head as well will get into a nice spot there at P2. So then when you take that into your swing, take that same feel, you'll have a sensation there where the hands track in, the club head stays slightly outside the hands, and then the club face, most importantly, is in a nice square position.